Admiral Zarian toggled through a series of holographic images on the massive display screen behind him. The Skarn conflict, year 3120. Humans termed it a light engagement. The projection shifted to an image of 6 Titan-class warships in low orbit, simultaneously raining down orbital artillery on the fortified city of Graus. Over 3 megatons of ordnance obliterated a 60-square-mile area in mere minutes. Zarian paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. When questioned about the brutality of their approach, the human diplomats were genuinely baffled. Their response? Zarian smirked, quoting them, "That's just how orbital strikes work." A screenshot from a human news broadcast appeared. The destruction was so insignificant in their eyes that it was buried in a small article under the headline, "Human Volunteers Aid Peacekeeping Efforts." For those unfamiliar with history, Zarian explained, the Skarn Collective was the most feared insurgent group the galaxy had faced in a century. But to humans, they were no more than an annoyance. Another infamous image flickered onto the screen, this one of a human soldier standing idly amidst the ruins of Sione City, the once glorious heart of the Skarn rebellion. Above her, a small fleet of frigates continued hammering the shattered landscape with autocannon fire, ensuring nothing remained. The soldier in the picture looked entirely at ease, her rifle slung casually over her back as she leaned against a piece of debris. According to the records, she was part of the first drop team that landed outside the city and personally eliminated 72 enemy combatants before extraction. Hours after this image was taken, the entire area, nearly 200 meters in every direction, was vaporized by a barrage of tactical nukes. The next slide revealed a courtroom scene. The Galactic Council had tried and failed to prosecute the humans for war crimes. Their defense? Simple. The humans had been invited by the Council to intervene, and as the human lawyer pointed out, a series of biological weapons had been unleashed by the Skarn, threatening not just human forces but entire planetary ecosystems. With a stern expression, Zarian repeated the defense's closing argument: humanity was faced with a choice, lose a city or lose a planet. We chose to destroy the city before it destroyed everything else. He took a deliberate sip of water before continuing. Let's not forget, nuking Sione was a compromise. He clicked to the next slide, revealing even more devastation. The original human plan was to flatten the entire continent and quarantine every system within a 20 light-year radius. And to them, even that wasn't considered overkill. A nervous murmur spread through the room. One young officer finally raised her hand. After a nod from Admiral Zarian, she spoke, her voice shaking slightly. If quarantining 20 light-years wasn't overkill, then what is? Zarian chuckled grimly, advancing the slideshow to a new image, a detailed map of star systems. If only we knew, he muttered, flipping to another slide. There were actually proposals to quarantine an area spanning 100 light-years. The room fell into stunned silence. The Admiral had their full attention now. This, Zarian said, pacing in front of the projection, is why we started increasing surveillance on human activities. What we discovered is both terrifying and enlightening. Pictures began to flash across the screen rapidly: human diplomats, colossal engineering feats, war fleets, corporations with vast power, clandestine dealings, and military outposts. What you're about to see is top secret. Any leaks will be met with immediate court-martial or worse. But it's vital that you understand the full scope of what we're dealing with. The lights in the conference hall dimmed, and a video played on screen. A massive assembly of human warships, numbering over 15,000, hovered near a massive hypergate. The camera zoomed in on the colossal structure, capturing the moment the hypergate activated. Officer Wren, watching from her seat, whispered, "Have you ever seen a fleet that size?" Her companion, Officer Mocker, swallowed nervously. Not even in the history archives. The hypergate flared to life, draining the energy of a nearby star, dimming its light as it funneled the immense power. The view zoomed in further, revealing something beyond comprehension. Ren gasped. Is that a gateway to another galaxy? Mocha ran diagnostics on his terminal, his voice barely a whisper. Yes, and not just any galaxy. It's connected to an unknown one, beyond our charts. The feed cut, and Admiral Zarian returned to the forefront. Humanity, as we've learned, isn't just another species. They are not even just galactic. They are intergalactic, a force that spans across at least 40 galaxies, with some estimates suggesting they have influence in over 15,000. The images continued: massive superstructures, fleets capable of wiping out star systems, corporations with resources that dwarfed entire planetary economies. Some officers in the crowd looked physically ill as the information washed over them. Zarian paused, letting the gravity of the situation settle. Humanity is what we classify as a Type 3 civilization, one capable of manipulating the energy output of entire galaxies. To them, a 100 light-year quarantine is barely an inconvenience. The final image on the screen was a map of the Alorian Rift. 10 years ago, the Great Rift opened, consuming an entire cluster of stars. It took 200 species, including humans, to stop the fallout from spreading. The next slide brought the room to a boil. The officers erupted in outrage, questioning humanity's loyalty, demanding answers. Zarian silenced them with a wave. That, he pointed to the image on the screen, is what the humans call overkill. It showed a human-built Hypergate positioned in front of the Alpha Rift, channeling energy from Aza into a beam of unfathomable destruction. This, Zarian said with grim finality, is their solution to the greatest biological threat we've ever faced, a virus that could wipe out entire species in days. The humans encountered it before, in other galaxies. They destroyed the entire sector to stop its spread. The officers stared in horrified silence. The humans did what we begged them to do, Zarian continued. They annihilated everything to save us all. Their weapon, powered by Aza, is the most devastating force the universe has ever seen. Zarian looked out over the assembly, his voice turning cold. What I'm telling you is this: never, under any circumstances, provoke the humans. They've shown us kindness. They've offered peace. But if you cross them, their response will be annihilation on a scale you can't even imagine.